What's up, everyone? DJ Nubis here with you on the Metal Time Radio Tarantula Haven. I'm going to talk a little bit about today, not a specific species, but I wanted to kind of dive into the world of breeding, which I'm not a breeder. I don't really have the room for it. Plus, nor do I have enough experience yet to kind of do that. Although, if I get better, I would like to try my hand at it as long as I had the room to actually kind of do that in a good, safe environment, as well as the ability to actually even just sell them or, breed them myself. And I haven't done breeding before, but I have noticed through watching different YouTubers and tarantula hobbyists, how they kind of approach breeding tarantulas. And so, again, I can be very hard on people that I see in the hobby itself and their content creation, how not only how they handle tarantulas, but how reckless it can be at times, which is very disheartening to me. Just because when you have people that are wanting to get into the hobby, or like me that had some sort of arachnophobia, you want the best possible people to show you the safest and more, not just safely for you as the hobbyist, but safety to the spider, just in general. So looking at some of these, I've said this before about, I did a video a while back about the price you pay to make money off of the hobby on your content creation. So not just, your love for the hobby itself, but is what you're doing on your channel like proactive, or I should say a good thing for people that are younger trying to get into the hobby? Is this the best way to show them the safest and more caring way to take care of their spiders and stuff like that? Because I've seen a couple channels where they get a little bit reckless. The guy I'm going to show you in the first video, he clearly has a passion for tarantulas and then other stuff that he has in his hobby, like centipedes or whatever. But the way that he handles his spiders a lot just really bothers me. And even though people are going to say, well, why do you still have him on your channel? It's like another great channel. Well, he has a lot of cool species. And, again, I don't want to take away from the fact that he is passionate about tarantulas and stuff like that. But I do still will call it out when I see it, that I think that the way that he handles his spiders is very reckless and dangerous to not just the spider, but himself. But again, like, I'm going to show you two different people, one that I highly respect in the hobby, and one, of course, that I really don't respect all that much, but respect the fact that he does it his way, and that he, is still very much passionate. He has like a big collection. So the first video I'm going to show you is a guy that I think it's dark in. And, he's very passionate, obviously, but, he's going to be breeding a couple spiders, and he ends up getting bit, or at least, tagged by one of them, by the female, when he's not really paying attention. So it's like trying to hurry a male to go in and try to breed with the female is not productive to the spiders themselves. I mean, you put the male at a bigger risk trying to rush him into, the female's enclosure. So, the female could come out and attack him right away. You have to kind of let them do their tapping and get to know one another. So let's check out his video first, and then we're going to go into Dave's Little Beasties, where I'm going to show you where I think that Dave has a great grasp on how to handle breeding and how to handle spiders in general, which I've talked about before. So
a freaking mess, but welcome back to another video, guys. Today, as promised in one of the previous videos, we are going to be pairing my Tharaphosa apophysis. Yes, this is going to be the scariest pairing yet that I've ever done, because we have a mature male here. This species, they are aggressive. So I'm actually curious. Fingers crossed she doesn't eat the male. And yeah.
and I need to correct them there. They're not aggressive. Tarantulas are not aggressive. They're defensive. Um, if the spider was aggressive, it would run out and try to attack the glass. It doesn't do that. Now, people have talked about how OBTs will, if you walk by, they get, they spring up, but that's more of a defensive mechanism. It's not an aggressive manner. They're not going to chase you down and try to bite you unless you're fucking with them. They might, fuck with you then, but they're not aggressive. I just need to correct that. That's a wrong term.
Let's start the video. I actually fed her yesterday, as you can see. So that's a little piece of the roach. So hopefully she'll be cooperative today. Let's see how this goes. I've got her on the floor for safety reasons. And where is she? She's in there just chilling in her burrow. I'm not sure, should we take this male or this male? Yes, we unfortunately have two mature males. I think this one just did a recent sperm web, so maybe we'll choose this one. And it's also easier because this one's down, this one's up. So yeah, I think we'll choose this one. But first, oh my gosh, don't run. Don't freaking run in. We're gonna have to get him into a container. And where did he? Oh my gosh, this is not good because, yep, they are super bolty. Look at that, freaking bolty. Kicking, oh my gosh, kicking hairs. Oh my, this is not good. This is terrible. This is, I can't even see him, man. Come on, get.
I see. The thing is also like, look, when I watch Dave's videos, like the fact that he's able to keep his spiders mostly calm 99% of the time is amazing to me. It's almost like Dave is like the tarantula whisperer, right? Whereas, myself, like I do when I try to move my tarantulas from one enclosure to another, when I'm upgrading them or cleaning them out or whatever, they kind of get like this. Either like I have a red island bird eater. Out of all my tarantulas, she is probably the most defensive. Like I opened it the other day just to feed her, and she sprang up on me. And she's big, and she's not poisonous or anything, but she's big enough that her fangs, if they bite you and tag you, are going to hurt like a motherfucker. But it just shows you that not like a lot of my old worlds, like the ones that are like a lot stronger venom, they just rather run. They don't really get really super defensive. I haven't really had them get defensive on me. They just run and spin bolt. Now, granted, when I was trying to change my feather leg baboon into a new enclosure, because I couldn't get her right away into the cup, she did get a little defensive, but it took a minute, and so it's just very interesting to me that old worlds that I have aren't as nearly as defensive as the new worlds. Like I have a Brazilian white knee. Again, that one gets a little defensive, starts kicking hairs. They get far more irritated than my old worlds do. It's kind of weird how that happens. But again, you still have to be careful no matter what type of species you're messing with here. Even this one's a new world that kicks hairs, but he's got this huge brush. He's not being super gentle. He's, obviously the tarantula is already kind of skittish, which doesn't help the situation, but his positioning of where he's got it, like I think he has a table in his room, in his big room that he has. So I'm surprised he's not using the table to put it at a level. So yeah, I don't know. Like this is, to me, you can see it just doesn't seem like he's rushing the tarantula around. He's not trying to be calm with it or coax it into the container so he can move it. It's all about just kind of, hey, come on, get in here, buddy. And it's kind of just, to me, that's not a good way to handle them.
In the freaking, oh my gosh, this is not good. Yup, hairs, legit hairs everywhere. I'm screwed. How on earth am I gonna? Oh my goodness! Can you stop kicking hairs? Oh my gosh!
Too big of a container too. I mean, I know the spider's got a size, but
are you freaking kidding me? Oh gosh!
That's a nice little washing station.
Itching like crazy. He is still kicking hairs non-stop. This is insane. Come on, get in the deli cup. Get in. Are you in? I'm not even sure. Can't even see. Yep, he's in. He's in Delicom and still kicking hairs like crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay. Come on. Get in here. Oh man, this is the worst ever pairing video I have ever done. Okay, come on, get in, get in. Come on, go in slowly, please.
Hey, he's being
please.
cautious with it.
Get in,
Let it
get
do
in,
its
boy.
thing.
You are. What is happening? Okay, go.
There you go. Let him do his thing.
Just okay, okay. Just chill, and there we go. He's in. Now we're gonna have to wait. Hands are hurting so bad, you guys. You have no.
Yeah, I've talked about this with the hairs. My Brazilian black, he likes to kick hairs. I don't mess with them too often. Just in in general, I don't mess with my spiders. Unless I necessarily have to. But when I had to move him a couple times, like even the hairs that he gets on his webbing, like if I touch it, it sends me into like a itchy, crazy rash and whatnot. But I saw someone the other day, man. They had like hairs apparently that got on their skin. I swear to God, on their arm, that it looked like it had necrosis almost. That's how it looked. It was, and I know it's not like an actual bite, but dude, it was so crazy the reaction that this person was having to the hairs. And that shows you that like even if they're not venomous per se, like in terms of like lethal venom or anything, or heavy venom, that just getting those hairs on you can be a real pain in the ass. And that's their defensive mechanism from predators is to kick their hairs and fuck with the animals that try to take them down or eat them. So, but yeah, it will hit you right away. That's why you want to wash yourself immediately, or wear gloves. Like he's not wearing any gloves or anything, so that will also be a problem. But definitely wash your hands. Don't scratch because it will spread. I made the mistake of doing that the first time I got some on me. Don't get it in your eyes. Hairs in your eyes is bad. So if you necessarily have to, wear some sort of goggles or glasses to prevent any kind of like hairs getting into your eyes, because they're like little barbs. And it's not good. So just make sure you're being safe, transferring or dealing with tarantulas inbreeding or otherwise.
No idea. I did not even scratch it. I did not even. Oh my gosh, my whole body is starting to. Oh my gosh, this is bad. This is bad. What have I done to myself? Oh my gosh. So Tarantulas hairs, for those who don't know, they're like fiberglass. Okay, at this point they don't even itch anymore. They hurt. Okay, oh my gosh, I am so dumb. I should have used the deli cup straight away. Why on earth did I try and use a freaking bucket? Don't ever do what I'm doing, you guys. This is the worst experience I've ever.
There you go. Yeah, do not like do what he's doing, and it doesn't just apply to this. I've seen him dealing with other things whenever he does unboxings and stuff, and he is still very much reckless. He lost a centipede once that got into one of the cracks in his room. You can't do that. You can't be reckless like that. It just, not to mention it, you could hurt your species of animals if they drop and all that stuff. So, yeah, clearly he wasn't thinking very well, but he has a habit of doing it. So sometimes I wonder if he's just doing it for the shock value to draw more people to his channel and stuff, which is all for the wrong reasons, my opinion, of course.
The male is in there. Female doesn't seem to be doing much. What is this male even doing? They're trying to take out the hairs with tape. Yeah.
The other side.
No, here.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, to do that. I said you wear a long sleeve.
Yeah. But also hot, so. Whatever. Look at my hands with the tape wrapped around. But it helps. It helps. I think some went into my mouth.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Oh well.
You go into your mouth.
Okay.
Is it on your face?
I mean, my face is not itchy, but you can feel things in my throat. Oh well.
Not funny.
Seriously. Oh my god.
Choker.
And the best part is, they're not even doing anything. He's literally been there for Ah! All this for nothing. This is what happens when you're in India.
And do understand, again, once we like get into today's video, you can't rush a breeding process, right? Sometimes they might start right away with the thumping and getting to know each other and stuff like that before they mate. But from my understanding is breeding can sometimes take hours. And, you don't really want to rush that because, again, he's going to have a moment. I've seen this already, but I want to kind of share it. But he has a moment where the female comes at him and I think actually hits him or tags him or bites him. I don't know exactly totally, but you don't want to rush things for not only the safety of the tarantulas themselves, but for yourself. And, he just is getting impatient. He should have kept a camera rolling and then let it do its thing and then come back. But, he's trying to rush the whole scenario and he can't do that. It just doesn't work very well.
Like me.
Don't use water.
Don't use water to wash your hands when a freaking tarantula kicks hairs at you. Because it's just gonna spread. What you want to do is get tape. And this guy is not doing anything after all that. So maybe I'll try another day. Because I'm suffering now. And I need to go and take a shower. Okay. So this guy, we're going to catch. Oh, not again. Not a freaking gain, man. He's kicking hairs again. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, he's kicking hairs again.
Good luck, my love. I love you so much.
Oh my. Can you see all his hair? Oh my.
I don't want to.
Freaking kidding me.
I don't even want to be near
He's
there.
kicking non-stop. Now the problem is, if the female decides to run out of the burrow, then we're screwed. Okay, I need your help. I need your help. Come here.
What?
You need to hold the phone while I use the lid to cover the deli cup. So
I can see the hair flying.
yes, so you
Here's the other thing too, his angle for this is you want to give yourself room to work, and usually that's from above, not from the sides. I don't know what kind of enclosure that is. I don't know if he has the ability to even open it from the top, but for breeding purposes, it's not very good. He probably should have I have a 50-gallon tank that if I was going to do breeding, I'd probably do it in there. Unless I have one of my bigger enclosures that I have for some of my spiders have both doors on the front that open, also tops. And so you want to be able to allow your freedom to work with both spiders. So in case you even have to separate them, if you're trying to save the male from being eaten or whatever after it mates, then you want to be able to have room to do it. You can see right now he's got almost no room to work here. The male isn't doing any tapping. He's, again, I think he's kind of rushing the scenario. When you stress out a tarantula, it may take it a while to kind of calm down before it decides to roam around and start tapping or whatever to get to the female attention. So he's been trying to rush this breeding process, and I don't think that's the right way to go about it. You need time for the tarantula to calm down.
you gotta. Oh my god. Ow! Oh, the female came out. The female came out and tried to grab my finger. I felt her legs on my hand.
She probably thought you were
Okay.
food. She might be hungry, so that's the other thing. Also, to my knowledge, before you even mate them, to make sure that the female is fed well, because if they're it doesn't always mean they're not going to attack the male anyway, but if they're hungry, if they're filled enough with food, they're probably less likely to go and attack the male after he mates. There's this moment of bliss after they've after he's inseminated her, that she'll kind of sit there in this state, which gives the male at least a little bit of time to get away. But if she's starving, not so much.
Where is the guy now?
She's here. She's here.
The guy's at the back.
Guys up there. I don't think. No.
I don't want to be anywhere near that place, okay?
I almost got bit by freaking.
Oh, I feel something not nice on my throat.
Yeah, those are the hairs. So we've got hairs on our throat now. And oh my gosh. So the female, I was just saying, I don't even know if I got it on camera, but I was just saying that hopefully the female doesn't run out at me. And okay, you need to hold the camera. There's freaking.
He should also, like, if there's so many hairs that are kind of like being kicked out, or because obviously the male's probably still kicking them, so they do float in the air. He should probably be wearing a mask. Like, if there's that much of like hair kicking from a tarantula, and you don't want, like, you know, everything coming into your mouth and lungs, you know, wear a mask. Like, he's doing everything that's wrong here. To even just, it's not even so much the breeding right now that's the problem. It's the way that he's handling the spiders in general. Like, he's just not in a very safe spot. Again, I can't tell if his enclosures are kind of has a dual, you know, side to top openings. Like, I don't know. So I'm not sure what country he's in because he has an accent, so I don't know if he's in Europe or whatever. But maybe anybody that watches Dark Den knows exactly where he's from. But either way, like, to me, this just isn't the kosher way. Why are you pushing my mic away? I know you're getting hungry. You gotta wait a little bit, though. You know, let me do my thing here. Neko is needy right now. Anyway, let's continue on. See how this goes.
There are also hairs on my throat. Okay. Anyways, whatever. Whatever. Okay. This is a disaster. Freaking disaster. The worst ever video.
I mean, from here, it looks like there is a top opening. So why isn't he even utilizing that? Like, why not pull your, pull out your enclosure? I mean, obviously, it's going to have some weight, but you'd want the ability to access the spiders in the best way possible. So I'm not sure, like, why he's not utilizing both ends. It doesn't make any sense to me.
That I've ever done. He's kicking non-stop. He is kicking non-stop.
Well, I feel like something weird on my throat.
Hairs. Hairs.
Maybe next time you should wear a mask.
Yep. Next time.
Use mask.
We're gonna wear masks.
Now, here's the other thing with this. So you see the legs hanging here under his hand. You're kind of coaxing it along, but at the same time, you take a risk of damaging his legs and, like, hurting the spider, which, you know, again, like, because of the position and the lack of room, he doesn't really have, like, too much of an option here. But from what I can see, it looks like there's this slide opening or something. I don't know, but overall, sorry, cat's getting in the way here. But overall, like, you know, he should have pulled this out and just had more room to work with. It would have made his job a lot easier, as well as wearing gloves or a mask, you know, whatever it takes. But he's handled this entirely poorly.
And okay, there he is. Okay, we're gonna wear masks and freaking. Oh my gosh. We're gonna wear masks. We're gonna wear long sleeves with extra.
It also looks like, if you look at the water dish, like, it looks like it has rocks in there. That, from my knowledge, and now granted, when I was younger, when I first had my first tarantula, I thought that was a good idea, especially when you had crickets running around, because crickets tend to drown themselves. However, I've heard in the hobby say that it's a very bad idea to use rocks within a water dish for, bacteria and stuff like that. So, um, just again, another thing I'm pointing out in terms of the care. The enclosure itself looks nice. Obviously, he's got, good room for it. I don't even know if that's fake or not. A lot of it, I can't tell. I know the plants look fake, but either way, just another thing pointing out, like I just and how he cares for his spiders versus other people.
With extra
You
protection.
should buy the thing that people used to catch or harvest the bee,
Yeah, exactly, right? Those oh my gosh. No, we're not doing this. This is the the most disastrous. Okay, now I'm full of hairs again.
Use water.
All right. Well, that was a nightmare for him. But now we're going to look at a video from Dave's Little Beasties. And, again, I've always talked up Dave. He's actually the guy that got me back into the hobby. I only had one tarantula years ago. And when I started watching Dave, I started to see there's so many more possibilities in how you would care for a tarantula the right way, how to feed them correctly. Because back then when I had mine, I was very inexperienced, didn't know anything about it. I'd drop like 6 to 12 crickets in this 10-gallon thing with this. I think I had like a Chilean rose, maybe, because I think that was when I was like the more basic tarantula at that time. We're talking late 90s, probably. Either way, it's just, when I look at what I was using then for my spider versus now for the collection that I have, like, it's vastly different. And even Neko is like, my wife Neko, she's like, you really care about these creatures and you do a great job. You're very passionate about it. And Dave's a big part of that. He's the one that kind of really got me into the bioactive enclosures, putting plants in, which recently I put some plants in mine. I'm trying my hand at it again. The first time I tried it, I was having a really hard time keeping them alive, but part of that was because of correct sunlight and shit like that. So now I've got like grow lights and stuff. So, but as it also helps with humidity, also helps with the isopods and springtails and stuff. So ultimately, Dave's a big part of the reason why I've been doing this again, and why I've become so much more passionate about tarantula keeping and all that. So my only issue I run into today is I just have almost no room in there. I have like a closet space. I keep the door open, but I have like a gate to keep the cats out. But the airflow is not as good as I would like. Heat wise, that's fine. I've got a big heater in there. So there's AC in here. It's a little bit warmer in there. It keeps them warm where they need to be. But yeah, so let's check out Dave. I think he's going to be messing with the Avic species. So again, watch how he approaches, not only how he handles tarantulas, but how he's going to do the breeding, because it's very important to pay attention to that.
Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Now today we're going to do a pairing video, and as some of you regulars know, we're rather keen on our Avics. We do like our Avics, and we've been trying to...
The only thing with me now, I've had 2 Avics myself, regular Avics, and I had a male and a female, and unfortunately both have passed away. Now, I had them both for a couple of years apiece. The female should have lived longer, but as I'm learning, Avics and species kind of like this, where they need a lot more humidity, I haven't quite narrowed that down to where I've gotten it perfect. So I've held off on getting another Avic for the time being, because my female was doing great. And then I noticed she hadn't come out for a while. So I went in there looking for her, and I had this big old, cork log, and she had molted, but then I saw that she had dried out. And one thing that I've noticed about Avics in general is that I don't want to say they're stupid, but in terms of the stress, I guess, from molting, is that once they molt, they're like in a very, like, compared to most spiders that I have, very lethargic, tired, so they have a hard time getting to any water dish of sorts. So I remember when my male molted, he would look like he was about on the verge of death, and then I started kind of misting the side of the enclosure where he was, and he immediately started like lapping up the water through his lungs. And so then I put the water dish by him, and he dove in, and he was drinking. Then he got back to healthy and all that. But I just noticed that they seem to need more humidity than other spiders to kind of like thrive. And so until I can figure out exactly how I want to do that, like I'm definitely going to need some plants in there because I have a couple big enclosures with my male pokies, my regalis and my striata. It's not that I'm worried about the havoc being aggressive or defensive or anything like that, because they're very docile. They're like one of the best beginner species spider you can have. But I think that because I didn't really have any like real plant life in there, or maybe not a big enough water dish, Dave tends, if you see like in his glass there in his enclosure, there's like a little green thing that's like a little cap. And he puts water in there near the top because this way, when the tarantula comes out, it can just kind of go right through the cap. I generally have all mine on the ground. For avics or for at least arboreal species, you want to try to get them as high as you can. But I found out that it's not super big deal, at least in terms of like my other arboreal species. They tend to be okay with the water they have. But with avics, it just seems to be far more difficult. Unless you have, like, he doesn't even have any plant life in there, so I don't know exactly what his humidity level is. He's got the moss on the bottom there, but I don't know like where he's placing it in his room because he's got a big room there. So it's hard to understand like exactly. I know sometimes he has plants in there. I don't know, maybe he does on the right. I can't tell. We'll see if he gets into it, but I might have saved myself some grief if I would have had my avic in a little bit bigger container with some plants to help bring up that humidity and a bigger water dish as well, just so that whenever it was thirsty, he can go do that. My niece, she has an avic I got from her for her a couple of years ago for her birthday. She's very much into arachnids and like stuff like scorpions and stuff. So hers is very humid. Like she has it's already kind of misty inside her enclosure she has. So her spider is doing very well compared to what I've done. So I don't know if I need to be quite as humid as she has it, but at least if it's thriving, it doesn't matter. His is clearly not humid or misty in there. So he's got other ways to keep it where it needs to be. He's always said that as long as it's at 60%, you should be good. Mine room is it was lower. It was like around 30. But recently we thought the plants that I've added and then some of the other enclosure, I think I had like 12 plants. It's raised up to like around 47 to 50%. So it's getting there. Obviously I'd like to get a little bit higher, but either way, the spiders aren't really having that hard of a time. I've had them molt with no issues. But as I go along, I'll probably add more plants into the larger enclosure so that these spiders can get the amount of humidity they need. And if I have another avic, I'll get down the road. I'll be sure to have a big enough enclosure to add some plants in there that will keep the humidity up there so they can thrive. Because apparently that's really, I think, where the biggest issue is for me as far as keeping them alive is that I'm not giving them enough humidity to whenever they molt that they aren't like dying of thirst and stuff like that. So just food for thought.
Pair up a couple of them recently. We did sort of film the Metallica pairing, but the footage was pretty poor. So we're going to try that one again. We did manage to get a pairing, but I'll say the footage was really, really poor. So what we got here now is the Avicularia variegata, which is the Amazon giant pink toe. Now,
that's cool. I haven't had this particular. I have the avic is what I've had in the past. This one, which is larger, which I'd probably get because I'd rather have a larger one, or the I think it is an avic. It's a versicolor, and but again, as much as I like the versicolor, people have said that they've had a hard time keeping them alive, and I think a lot of that again has to do with the humidity levels of as far as keeping them healthy and all that. So
this really is a very, very nice spider. It's a beautiful spider, and this was a really long pairing. So we're going to condense it down quite a bit because the male he's pretty old, and he's a little bit on the slow side, but we did get a successful pairing in the end. So fingers crossed, we'll get something out of it. But let's go and have a look. It's only going to be a fairly short video, and you get an idea, see what's going on. All right, I'll see you shortly.
go lay down. I'll be there in a minute.
All right, so here we go. We're just about to introduce our male avicularia.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a real quick break. I'm just going to go and feed them because that's really what they're after right now, but I'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that. Back to this. Let's go ahead and get back into it.
Yeah, variegata.
Now, see, he's already got his male in the container. Now, granted, he probably would have showed that already, but you see how he's handling the tarantula in general. There's no rush. There's no, like, tapping the box and even though he doesn't have his opening up here, the way that Dave handles his species, he's able to handle them without the issue of, him getting bit or tagged or whatever. And then there's no hair kicking and stuff either. Now, avics are generally very peaceful, docile. They might poop on you or they might run. But Dave also has it in the open space. He brought the enclosure out. So he's giving himself some room in case the tarantula gets out. He has his catch cup available in case he has to track it down. The other day I was watching a video in the past that he did of his baboons, and the OBT, the orange one, just went and ran around his room a lot. He had to go catch it a couple times, but at least he gives himself space to work with whenever one gets out and runs around, even if it's a more venomous one or not. But it's just how you handle, and this is what I've always appreciated about Dave, is how he handles the spiders. He's like, his biggest thing is keep calm, and just be safe. Like, don't panic. You panic, they panic, and then bad things can happen. So just remember this, especially for those of you that are going to get into breeding. This is, make sure you have the space, make sure you're prepared in case something happens. Sometimes you might lose a tarantula due to the female getting it, but Dave knows this. He's had it happen a couple of times, but just be aware and how you breed your tarantulas and how you handle them. That's always the biggest thing.
Giant pink toe. Now, I must say, as avicularia go, the variegata is probably the most stubborn spider to actually move. If they don't want to move, they just hunker down and just refuse. Very, very stubborn. So you get no defensive display or anything from them whatsoever. They're just like, no, I'm not going to move. Now, as you can see there, this male is a very, very old male. So he's really getting his last chance. Notice his abdomen is almost gone. Very little of the way of abdomen left. So he's still producing a sperm web. But he is very, very near the end of his time. So we're giving him one last shot here. We have tried pairing them before, and we found the males to be, or this male to be very, very slow. He just don't seem to get a move on, and the female's not particularly responsive towards him either. And that could.
Come on, Dave. He's old. Like, he doesn't have any blue pills to take. I feel this guy's pain. It's not as easy when you get older, man. Like, you can't get the sex drive going as fast as you would like. Come on, brother.
Be something to do with the fact that he is just not not really up there with it, I don't think. So it's an interesting thing. Now, the footage that we've got here is literally like 15 minutes or so, something like that. It's not very long at all. But this was around about 3.5 hours worth of filming, and we've condensed.
Now you hear that? He had to wait 3 or so hours for anything really to happen. Like, whereas the last guy was trying to rush something that shouldn't be rushed. It doesn't mean that if every time you breed that it doesn't happen automatically or it doesn't happen fast or at least faster. But from what I can gather from Dave, like, it's not a very fast process from his experience with breeding tarantulas. And I don't know about guys like Tom from Fangs TV and the people that work with like Exotic Unlimited or anything. Like, I don't know if they run into time when it comes to breeding or not, but either way, my recollection of at least watching through a lot of Dave's videos is that it's not a very fast process, regardless of how old your males are.
It right the way down. The speed that he's moving at now is about as fast as he got, apart from when he legged it at the end. He is in actual fact above our female now. She is down to the left of that bit of cork bark. But for some reason or other, he completely ignores the entrance to her burrow there and goes down the other side. Very strange.
I know she's around, but she hasn't tapped or anything either. So
that burrow as easy as anything. But yeah, these things.
That's one thing I would ask anybody who does breeding, because like I have some male species that, you know, I'm not a breeder, but I have males, and my two pokies, the Regalis and Strata, they tap a lot, obviously, on the glass. But I wonder, aside, because obviously they're looking for a mate, that's easy to tell when they're tapping like they are. But I wonder if, for those that breed, like, how do you know exactly when, obviously the female, after she molts, if she's mature, she would be classified as ready. But in this case, do we know that the spider that Dave has was tapping or looking, or do we just assume because he is a male and mature that he's going to go and mate regardless? Like, because at this stage, like, if he doesn't look like he's really interested all that much, like he is probably towards the end of his life. So how do you even know he's really willing or wanting to mate? Like, what is the, like, I don't know what's going to happen here with this video, but for those that have been breeding for a while, what would give you the signs that it's a perfect time to mate your tarantulas? Like, let me know.
Things we will never fully understand, but you would have thought he would have gone straight down there. So anyway, he spent a good half an hour mucking around, sitting behind that bit of web, and eventually we just give him a little nudge, and he's now facing in the right direction, and hopefully he is going to pull our female out. Now when it's like this, you need to just be really super patient. You can't speed these guys up if they want to go slow.
Yeah.
And here we go, look, now he's popping out. You can see the abdomen there now. It's quite a small abdomen. And here comes our female.
It's really kind of remarkable how this all works.
Our male.
Up until watching Dave, I didn't even know how they bred each other.
And she molted out around about 2 months ago. So she should be viable. We would hope so.
See, he's not really drumming too much. So I don't know if he's just kind of like trying to sleepwalk his way through this.
Like little stalemates that go on forever.
She's tapping. Now there he goes. He's receptive now.
She was actually responding and tapping when they do that quick succession tapping, and that actually made him jump. I think maybe he'd stop for a snooze or something, but that actually made him jump. Hopefully,
like, he doesn't even look like he's all that interested in sex.
Into what is going on and what he needs to be doing. because I say up to this point we probably spent about a good 2 hours or more getting to this point. And as you can see, the very, very gentle tapping he's doing there of his pedipalps, that's about as energetic as this old boy got. He really didn't put up much of a show, and I can't help thinking that his lack of vigour is probably what you know, probably held our female back. Now she's come up now. Now she is initiating everything at the moment, and as you can see there, she's coming out, she's vibrating, she's tapping, she's doing the whole works. She obviously feels sorry for the little dude, and she's decided to give him a chance.
He's trying. He's trying. What is he doing? You can't do it doggy style, bro.
Now, even when it's handed on a plate to him, he's still not 100% sure.
Well, yeah, he's got tarantula arthritis. Like, he knows that if he ain't quick enough, she's going to use him for dinner. But he's also, I've noticed too, tarantula males will like
very, very little
position themselves, especially if they have an opening they can get out of. They position themselves to where they can run, because like the minute they inseminate, unless they're like very young and vigorous and, you know, hitting the female a couple of times, the minute they usually inseminate, they are like gone. Usually they will be like, gotta go, because they do not wait around for her to come down from her climax and then decide like her to eat them. Sometimes they're not quick enough, but dude, yeah, I've seen them run pretty fast to get the hell out of those enclosures.
Interaction between our male and the female. The female is doing most of the work. There we go. He's just giving it a little shake there, giving it his best Elvis impression. And you can see she's just gently trying to reassure him.
Tap, 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 tap. All right, come on. Oh, she's tapping now. See if I can just speed it up a little bit.
More sensitive to one another, and just about waking our male up. So you can see now he's starting to get the gist of what's going on. He is just not a particularly dominant male. Now luckily we have got a very...
Now you can tell at this point too, like I said, when he first opened his enclosure and got the male in there, he had the top on of the enclosure. Now you can tell he's got it off. This is giving the spiders room to work with, and also to work with himself, in case he needs to separate them, or if the male just decides he's not going to do anything, he can go back and collect the male without having to route the female getting defensive or annoyed with him being in there.
Very, very freshly matured male. Get a better response from our female. Time will tell. Touching on 3 hours of this kind of behaviour at this sort of speed. Perfect place. He wasn't particularly happy in the position he's been in previously. It's now she's turning around now, you see, and she is behaving well. This is the kind of responsiveness we're looking for. He is pulling her out of that the depths of that burrow there.
Yeah, in case you've never seen tarantulas breed, so the males had these little pedipalps like near their mouths, near the fangs, and then their bigger arms, they generally will have hooks on their main legs up front, so they will hold the female as far back as they can, and then the pedipalps will hit her underneath of her abdomen to inseminate her. This is, you know, and it's quite interesting because, again, the female will be receptive, but they're so much bigger than the males normally that it's kind of amazing that the male even has a chance a lot of times, because sometimes males are just so small compared to the females that you're like, wow. But if you've never seen them, a tarantula's mate, it's very, very interesting how the operation works. And again, the male here is positioning himself so that he can bring her out, because he doesn't want to be. I mean, I've seen males go into the holes with the females, and it doesn't always end well when they do that, because they're basically in the wrong spot where they can't really get away. He is definitely giving himself an out. He's on top of the enclosure. He's like, if this starts to go south, I can just run. I'll be good. So he's not being dumb. Now, if the top was on, I'm not sure how he would have handled everything. He probably would have tried to either crawl up on the screen, or he would have tried to bring her down through the other part. I'm not sure, but Dave's at least given him an option of multiple ways that he can kind of draw her out of her hide.
You have to excuse the camera at the moment. I had it set on the lowest tripod, and now I could do it slow. To try and push them on, but you're almost guaranteed to fail if you. And he's found this is the best he's been.
There you go.
So
now you
far.
see he's pushing her
He's
legs a little
actually
bit.
got
He's
the
trying to get in
position.
there.
You notice he's got his legs around.
And you see
the
those little
female, he's
pedipals
pushing
running.
those
They're
legs back.
flying in there,
So
trying
now
to
we
get
are
them.
just looking for that insemination, and we've not got it just yet. You can see him just about sort of feeling away down there. There you go. This is insemination now. You notice how he's changed. He's got a grip of her now, and you can see how he's pulling her in. So this is insemination. Now this is quite, for an avic, this is quite rough. Generally speaking,
Yeah, he's in a bad spot. He's facing down, but he might be able to get away on the side of the wood there.
And she's literally bent in two. Now you
There he
go.
goes.
There you
Now
go.
he's
So
gone.
we've had insemination. Now she is chasing our male.
Yep.
And they've all got in a bit of a tangled web there. And as you can see, he's made it out. He's on the front of the glass. And
see, he's still kind of interested. So he hasn't totally like said, I'm done. So despite the risk, you know, he's still willing to go back and try again for more if he can. But you saw, like, because of where he was, like, he was having a hard time getting away from her. She was like trying to grab him for the death hug, I call it. But even now, as she kind of chased him around, he's still not totally like going to leave. Like, he knows his purpose. His one goal once he matures is just to impregnate a female. That's basically it. But yeah, let's just watch a little more, and then we'll call it a day.
We're just sitting there in the wings at the moment because we're not quite sure. Is he going to go back and have another try? He's
in a better spot
from wanting to kill him, and she's just hanging out. So this is an opportunity now. I might just.
He's in a better position where he got more room to work with. He's got her out more, which is good. She seems disinterested.
She's not intent on causing him any harm at the moment. So we're quite happy to let him sit there and see what happens. There you go.
So yeah, I won't waste too much more time. I don't know what will happen with the rest of the video, but I'll put Dave's channel page up there, and you guys can go look for this to watch if you want. He has a lot of pairing videos with different species. So obviously, as you can see, the way that each hobbyist, content creators between Dark Den and Dave is vastly different in how they approach it. Obviously, the species that they're working with are a little bit different in temperament. The one that Dark Den was dealing with is a bit more defensive, skittish, but it's also how you maneuver the tarantulas into the enclosures. Even if you're just doing transfers from one to another, you want to be as calm and as careful as possible. You don't want to rush them. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes they get so skittish that they run on you and they just bolt. But how you go about it helps you determine like how it's going to be when they finally make it happen. And so I'm no expert on breeding, but I wanted to kind of point this out because I thought that watching one guy who is getting hit with hairs and in his lungs and getting almost bit or tagged, and how he's trying to maneuver the breeding process is just very, again, dangerous to him, dangerous to the male. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, and again, he does his stuff his way. I'm not going to sit here and say that he has to change, or that, that he needs to listen to my advice. But for those that would be getting into the hobby and then thinking about breeding, or even just how they handle tarantulas, I will always say go to Dave. He's the best at it for me, and him, outside of him, would be the guy from Tarantula Collective. They're both the best right now in terms of like information and tarantula care and stuff like that. So I would, I never say not to go to Dark Den, because again, he's got some really cool species that he gets. He has a passion for it, obviously, but if you ask me who to actually take advice from and how to deal with tarantulas, it would not be him. So anyway, that's all I got. Let me know your thoughts on, breeding and tarantula care. If you're a breeder, let me know how your process is. How do you feel about the two different approaches here? Just hit me up, let me know, and I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves, and later.